My Pet Slime by Courtney Scheinmel. Chapter 10. Mr. Goldblatt. I knew I should have taken my backpack to lunch with me, I said. Sometimes we think something is missing, but really we've just misplaced it, Miss Serrato said. I didn't misplace anything, I cried. I think Claire stole it. What are you blaming me for? Claire said. You were the one who wanted to know what I had in my backpack, I said. Everyone else was minding their own business. I know you're upset, Piper, Miss Serrato said. But it's not okay to accuse Claire. She walked out of this classroom at the same time you did. She went to the bathroom during indoor recess, I said, and she took a really long time in there. Enough time to come all the way back here and open my backpack. I was trying to turn the sink off, Claire said. I went to the bathroom right after you, and I turned the sink off no problem, I said. Now, Miss Serrato said. Why don't you tell us what's missing, and we can all help you look for it. I don't help people who call me a liar, Claire said. Prove you're not a liar, I said. Let me see inside your backpack. You can't look in my backpack, Claire said. That proves that you are a liar. It doesn't prove anything except that you're completely weird, Claire said. There wasn't even anything in there except some empty lunch containers and a dust rag. It was a blankie, and that proves you did go into my backpack. Claire, is that true? Miss Serrato asked. Before Claire could answer, I grabbed her backpack out of her cubby. Hey, she said. She grabbed it back from me, and there was a rip sound. She broke it. She broke my backpack. It fell to the ground. Some pencils, an eraser, and her scooter helmet tumbled out, but no Cosmo. Piper, Claire, I think you both need to take a trip to Mr. Goldblatt, Miss Serrato said. But I have my show and tell about my dog Buddy all ready to go, Claire said. And I didn't rip her backpack on purpose, I said. I only did it because she stole something out of mine. I already told you there wasn't anything in yours. Theo, can you walk them to the principal's office? Miss Serrato asked. Sure, Theo said. Ms. Serrato wrote a note to Mr. Goldblatt and handed it to Theo. I guess she didn't trust Claire or me to deliver it. We walked down the hall. Claire was grumbling about missing show and tell. But who cares about missing show and tell when you're missing your pet? I wanted a pet my whole life. Now I finally had one, and he was already gone. I didn't believe that Claire didn't find him in my backpack. But if she didn't put him in her backpack, then where was he? I hoped wherever he was, it wasn't too dark and scary and there were breathing holes. Was he alive right now? Or back to being plain slime? If he was alive, he must be so scared. Poor little Cosmo. What if I never saw him again? Tears pricked behind my eyes. I bit my lip to keep from crying in front of Claire. We got to the principal's office. Theo gave the note to Mrs. Carrion, Mr. Goldblatt's assistant. "You can go back to class now," Mrs. Carrion told him. "You two sit right there," she said, pointing to the bench right outside Mr. Goldblatt's office. "He'll call you in soon." I could hear Mr. Goldblatt on the phone on the other side of the wall. He has the kind of voice that's loud, even when he's just regular talking. It makes him even scarier. There was a big clock on the wall above Mrs. Carrion's desk, and I watched the minutes tick by. "It's your fault that we're missing all of show and tell," Claire whispered to me. A few minutes passed. I heard Mr. Goldblatt say, "All right, Bill. Call me back when you have the answer on that." Something buzzed on Mrs. Carrion's desk. "Piper, Claire, you can go in now," she said. Mr. Goldblatt was sitting behind a large wooden desk. He's really tall, so even when he's sitting down, he's taller than most kids. Claire and I took a seat in the chairs in front of him. "Tell me what happened," he said. His voice was so loud that it echoed. For a second, I was quiet, and so was Claire. Then we both started talking at the same time. "She went into my backpack," I said. "She called me a liar," Claire said. "She was a liar," I said, "and she ripped my backpack," Claire said. Mr. Goldblatt held up his hand. It was as big as a basketball. "One at a time," he boomed. "Claire, what happened?" "We got back to our class after recess. Piper said I'd stolen something out of her backpack, but I didn't." "What was in your backpack, Piper?" Mr. Goldblatt asked. It was slime. I made it last night." "Slime?" Claire asked. "You're being this weird about homemade slime?" My cheeks burned. "It was special," I said. "I made the slime into a pet. He's purple all over with a rounded head, a teeny mouth, and big eyes. He's about this big." I held up my hands to show the size of a kitten. "And he's just the cutest thing I've ever seen." "You were talking to the slime like it was alive," Claire said. "Weirdo." "I didn't let anyone see it," I told Mr. Goldblatt. But Claire kept asking me about it, and then she took a long time going to the bathroom at lunch. She pretended the sink was broken, but really she went into my backpack. "I didn't take anything out of it," she said. "Now she's lying again." "I'm not. I swear on my dog Buddy's life that I'm not." Mr. Goldblatt's phone rang, and he held up his hand again. "Hello?" he said into the phone. "Oh, Bill. Thanks for getting back to me so quickly." Hang on, please." He put his hand over the mouthpiece and looked down at us. "Girls, I have to deal with the order for a new smartboard in the auditorium," he said. "Piper, I'm sorry you lost your slime. But Claire says she didn't take it, and I believe her." "Is Piper going to be punished for saying I did something when I didn't?" Claire asked. "Yes," Mr. Goldblatt said. "What?" I asked at the same time that Claire said, "Good." I felt the tears pricking again. First, I got punished at home. Now I was going to be punished at school. Worst of all, Cosmo was still missing.
You're both going to be punished,
Mr. Goldblatt said.
We don't falsely accuse people at this school, Piper. But we don't touch other people's property either, Claire. So this afternoon, you two are going to stay an extra half hour to help Mr. Leon sweep the third grade classrooms.
Mr. Leon is the janitor at school. But I was a good citizen at lunch, Claire said. I put paper towels down so the floor wouldn't get too wet.
It's our job to be good citizens all day long, every day,
Mr. Goldblatt said.
Mrs. Carrion will take care of letting your parents know what's happening. Go on now. I need to finish this phone call.
He uncovered the mouthpiece.
Bill, I'm back.
He waved one of his giant hands at us to let us know we were supposed to walk out the door, and so we did. Chapter 11. The Clean Team. Mrs. Carrion gave us a note to bring to Ms. Serrato. By the time we got back to class, show and tell was over. Not that I cared. The only thing that I cared about was Cosmo. I couldn't concentrate on any of the afternoon lessons. I pictured Cosmo escaping from wherever Claire had hidden him and wandering through the halls of our school looking for me. He couldn't talk, so he couldn't ask anyone how to find me. And even if he could talk, he turned back to slime whenever anyone saw him. Besides me, kids could run into the halls and squish him to death under their shoes. The bell rang at the end of the day. Everyone was dismissed, except for Claire and me. We had to wait for Mr. Leon. Miss Serrato sat at her desk and did paperwork. Claire and I sat next to each other at our table B seats. Cosmo, where are you? I thought. Stop staring at me, Claire said. I'm not staring. Yes, you are. No, I'm not.
That's enough,
Ms. Serrato said.
Knock, knock,
a voice called from the doorway.
Hey there, Mr. Leon,
Ms. Serrato said.
Looks like you have some helpers today.
She picked up her bag.
Have a good afternoon, girls, she told us. Tomorrow is a new day. All right, clean team, Mr. Leon said. You ready to make some moves?
Yeah, Claire and I mumbled. Mr. Leon cupped a hand to his ear.
I said, you ready to make some moves?
Yeah, we said a little bit louder.
Mr. Leon said. Call me crazy, but I don't think you two are happy to be hanging out with me this afternoon.
I'm sorry, I told Mr. Leon. It's not because of you. Something important to me is missing. That's why I'm unhappy. It's just slime, Claire said, rolling her eyes. And I'm unhappy because Piper thinks it's my fault, but it's not.
Are there any distinguishing characteristics about the missing slime?
Mr. Leon asked. Oh, yeah, I said. It's purple and as big as a kitten, but with a rounded head, big eyes, a teeny mouth, and little arms that are just long enough for cuddling. Claire rolled her eyes again. Have you seen anything like it? I asked.
I don't believe I have,
Mr. Leon said.
but I'll keep an eye out now. Lucky for you, I happen to know the best method for finding lost things.
What?
Cleaning!
He said. He turned to Claire.
And even if it's not your fault that Piper's slime is missing, helping to find it would be a good citizen thing to do.
Yeah, but it's not like I'll get to make morning announcements or anything, she said.
Hey, you never know,
Mr. Leon said.
So, what do you say? Can we get started?
Fine, Claire said. Okay, I said.
Fist bump!
Mr. Leon said. He held out a fist, and we both bumped it.
Now, on to Mrs. Wade's classroom.
Why don't we start right where we are? Claire asked.
I always start with Mrs. Wade's room,
Mr. Leon said.
You know why?
Why?
Because she teaches in classroom 3A, and A comes before B in the alphabet. Let's make some moves.
He bobbed his head as he crossed the hall. Claire and I just regular walked. Mrs. Wade had put all her students' names up on the board on sunshine-taped construction paper. In our classroom, our names are on diamonds. Mrs. Wade's room also had the desks set up in rows. Ms. Serrato had pushed our desks together to make Table A and Table B. Mr. Leon told us to lift the chairs onto the desks. That way, it'd be easier to sweep under them. I checked under every single desk looking for Cosmo, but I didn't find him. When all the chairs were lifted, Mr. Leon did the sweeping. Claire and I took turns holding the dustpan.
Good job, clean team,
Mr. Leon said.
Now on to 3B. Let's make some moves.
Back in our classroom, we lifted the chairs again. I looked for Cosmo under every desk, especially Claire's desk, but he wasn't there. I need a break, Claire said after the last chair was lifted. She leaned against the back cabinets, accidentally knocking Mr. Swimmer's fish flakes onto the floor. Uh-oh.
No biggie,
Mr. Leon said.
That's what the broom is for. Can you bring over the dustpan?
I don't have it, Claire said. Me neither, I said. You used it last, she said. No, you did. No, you. Oh, maybe I did, she said. But that means it was your turn to remember to bring it back here. Mr. Leon started to laugh. What's so funny? Claire asked.
Nothing at all,
Mr. Leon said.
You two take a break. I'll grab the dustpan.
He went across the hall. I scooped up a handful of fish flakes. Why are you doing that? She asked. Mr. Leon said he'd sweep it up. Just getting a head start, I said. You're only doing that to be a better good citizen. No, I'm not. Yes, you are. She slid off the back cabinets, scooped up a giant handful of fish flakes, and ran toward the garbage can next to Ms. Serrato's desk. Ah! She gasped. She took a couple steps backward and knocked into the whiteboard. The flakes she was holding fell to the ground. What happened? garbage can. My heart started thumping. I raced over. Could it be him? Please, please let it be him. Cosmo! I cried. Chapter 12. Almost a happy ending. He was sitting on top of a bunch of crumpled papers. I scooped him up and cuddled him close. I was so worried about you, I said. How did you end up in there? Cosmo didn't answer. He just made his good Cosmo sounds. There was a rubber band stuck to his head and a tissue stuck to his body. I pulled them off and brushed away the Oreo crumbs around his mouth. You ate my lunch, didn't you? I said. Cosmo gurgled. I'm sorry. I didn't realize you'd need food since you're slime. But of course you do. Because anything that's alive needs food, no matter what it's made of. That's the slime you made? Claire asked. I nodded. It is. But how is it? What is it? Am I dreaming? It started out as plain slime, I said. I sculpted it into a pet. Then some space dust fell on him. That's when he came to life. Wow, Claire said. ICBI. Huh? I can't believe it, she said. He turned back to slime in front of my parents, I said. I thought that meant I was the only one he could come alive for, but he's alive for me too, Claire said. I nodded. Maybe he can be alive for kids, but not adults. Maybe, Claire said. You're right about one thing. He's the cutest thing I've ever seen. Except for Buddy, that is. Is it okay if I pet him? Sure, I said. Claire, let me introduce you to Cosmo. Cosmo, this is Claire. Claire reached out her hand and ran her fingers across Cosmo's soft, slimy back. I didn't take him out of your backpack, Piper, Claire said. I swear. I hope you believe me. I believe you, I said. I left it open a little bit so he could breathe. I think maybe he opened it up all the way himself and climbed out to look for me. How do you think he ended up in the garbage can? Maybe Ms. Serrato came into the room and thought that he was just plain slime, so she threw him away. Poor Cosmo, Claire said. Please don't tell anyone about him, I said. I tried to tell my mom this morning. He looked like regular slime to her, so that's what she thought he was. I think he's supposed to be a secret. I won't tell, Claire said. I promise. I'm going to teach him tricks like you taught Buddy, I said. He already knows how to sit. Sort of. If I push his butt down, he sits. What else can Buddy do? Oh, lots of things, Claire said. He can fetch balls and lie down and hold the paw for a shake. You want to learn all that, Cosmo? I asked. He made his little gurgle sounds. Girls, Mr. Leon said. Claire and I both jumped. Didn't mean to scare you, he said. And I didn't mean to take so long. I needed to help find a missing mop. How are you guys doing? We're all good, Claire said. Everything is totally normal. Better than normal.
it right there?
Mr. Leon asked. Yep. Cosmo had turned back to plain slime in my arms, but he still looked cute to me.
That's the best looking slime I've ever seen,
Mr. Leon said.
I'm glad you found it.
Actually, Claire found it, I said. But Piper made it, Claire said. If she didn't make it, there wouldn't have been anything to find.
That's surely true,
Mr. Leon said.
Way to go, Clean Team. I love a happy ending.
Almost happy ending, I said. We still need to sweep this room.
You two ready to make some moves with the dustpan?
Mr. Leon asked. Yes, Claire and I said. Chapter 13. Oh no, Grandma! About an hour later, I was back at home. Dad was in his office, still working on the tough section of his book. He told me I had to play alone. That was fine with me because I wasn't actually alone. I'd never have to play alone again. I had Cosmo. I sat down on my bedroom floor and patted the rug beside me. Come here, Cosmo, I said. Sit. He sat, all by himself. Oh, good boy, I said. Now I'm going to teach you to play fetch, like Claire's dog Buddy. I held up a tennis ball. When I roll this across the room, you go get it and bring it back, okay? Cosmo gurgled, which I took as yes. Here we go, I said. I rolled the ball. Get it, boy. Cosmo hopped after the ball, scooped it up, and brought it back. You're a natural at fetching, I told him. Let's play again. I rolled the ball. Cosmo took a couple steps toward it, but then he seemed to change his mind about fetching. He turned around and hopped into my lap. Oh, you just want to snuggle? I said. Well, that's okay too. Let's snuggle. We can do tricks later. You've had a long day. I hugged Cosmo in my lap. He felt so cozy. I didn't care about being allergic anymore. Even if I wasn't allergic to anything, and I could have whatever pet I wanted out of all the pets in the whole wide world, I'd still pick Cosmo. Dad pushed open the door, and Cosmo turned back to regular slime.
Hey there, Piper,
He said.
You wrote to Grandma Sadie last night, didn't you?
Yep, I thanked her for my space dust. It was actually a much better present than I thought, just so you know.
Why's that?
He asked. Oh, no reason, I said.
Well, you didn't by any chance get an email back from your grandma, did you?
I haven't checked yet.
Let's check now, Dad said.
Okay, I said. I scooped up Cosmo. He was just the slime blob in front of Dad, but I still wanted to keep him near me. We walked down the hall to Dad's office. Dad pulled out the desk chair in front of his computer so I could sit down and log on. I typed in my email address and password.
Anything from Grandma Sadie?
He asked. No, not yet, I said. But I'm going to write her another email anyway. I have something important to tell her.
What?
It's private, I said. It was about Cosmo, of course. I wanted her to know what the space dust did to my slime and give her an extra extra big thank you. But I didn't want Dad to see because I knew he wouldn't understand. Dad was standing right next to me. That means I need privacy, I told him.
Oh, right. Of course,
he said, and he took a step back. But his voice sounded funny. He looked funny, too. His forehead was all scrunched up, the way it gets when he's worried about something. Is something wrong? I asked.
Oh, it's probably nothing,
Dad said.
You know your grandmother. She goes off on adventures all the time, but...
But what?
Mom got a call from Grandma Sadie's boss at Astroblast Explorers,
he said.
She was supposed to blast off on a new trip this morning. She's probably fine. But she didn't come in, and they don't know where she is.
They don't know where she is? I repeated, and Dad nodded. You mean she's missing? I asked.
I'm afraid so,
he said. Oh no! Grandma Sadie! I cried. Piper McLean's secret slime recipe. Hey, it's me, Piper McLean. I'm going to share my favorite slime recipe with you. You should have your parents help you make it so that you don't get in trouble the way I did. You only need 3 ingredients. 1, a 6-ounce bottle of white or clear school glue. 2, half teaspoon baking soda. 3, 1.5 tablespoons contact lens solution that includes boric acid and sodium borate. First, squeeze the whole bottle of glue into a bowl. Next, add the baking soda and mix it up. Want your slime to be stretchier? Add a few tablespoons of water. After that, slowly mix in the contact lens solution. You can also add food coloring or glitter to make your slime more colorful or sparkly. Mix it up with your hands until it's smooth and stretchy. Your slime might not come to life the way that Cosmo did, but you'll have a lot of fun making it. Real life slime. Cosmo might be a fictional character, but guess what? Scientists in France have discovered a slime that can do tricks in real life. Its name is Viscerum polycephalum. Let's call it pea slime for short. Pea slime doesn't have a brain, so it can't be taught how to sit or fetch a ball or anything like that. But it can figure out how to slink around and find food. When the scientists put barriers in between pea slime and its food, the slime worked out a way around the barrier to get what it wanted. Sometimes it seemed to be a little bit scared and it wouldn't move. But then it learned not to be scared of the barrier anymore. That's a pretty good lesson. To gather up your courage and face your fears. Who knew slime would be such a great teacher? Maybe one day, scientists will discover a slime that's brave as well as cute and cuddly like Cosmo. In the meantime, there will be plenty of Cosmo and Piper adventures to enjoy.
New quiz. Number 5. In a good job, huh? Play quiz. opened Piper's backpack. Mr. Goldblatt, Claire, Mrs. Salter, Theo, Claire. Dun, 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 dun. Why is Piper upset with Claire? Claire ate Piper's lunch. Claire took Cosmo. Claire made fun of Piper at the lunch table. Piper thinks Claire took Cosmo. Piper thinks Claire took Cosmo. Pumpity 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 pump. What does Piper not do? Rip Claire's backpack. Accuse Claire of taking Cosmo. Tell the principal what was in her backpack. Call Claire names. Call Claire names. Yes. Dun, 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 dun. What punishment does Mr. Goldblatt give the girls? Piper and Claire have to clean up the playground. Piper and Claire have to help the librarian. Piper and Claire have to write apologies. Piper and Claire have to help Mr. Leon. Piper and Claire have to help Mr. Leon. Dun, 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 dun. Where is Piper? Why is Piper upset? She is afraid that her parents will be upset. She doesn't like to clean. She is worried about Cosmo. She missed show and tell. She is worried about Cosmo. Dun, 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 dun. According to Mr. Leon, what's the best way to find something that's lost? Asking someone for help, not losing it in the first place. Cleaning Retracing your steps. Cleaning. Where do Piper and Claire find Cosmo? On a bookshelf, in a cubby, in a garbage can, in Claire's backpack. Claire's desk. In a garbage can. Dun, da, da, dun, da, da, dun, da, da, da. What do Piper and Cosmo do when they get home? Eat a snack, read a book, play fetch, make art. Play fetch. Dun, da, da, dun, da, da, dun, da, da, da.